Oh, hi. Don't fall. Welcome to the project, everyone. Today we have good old bike rack upgrades, and I'm actually really excited about this because it should transform our bike rack and how useful it is. And so, really excited to have these. I think it's kind of a new product from VelociRax, but let me show you what we got going on there, and then we can kind of start putting these together and show you what it is. So first, let me just apologize that the shop is a huge mess because we are still fixing our Crosstrek, which is coming along. I think we finally made it out of the woods on that, but I saw that they had these upgrades and I think it could really help clean up the shop. So apologize for this huge mess. We're in the middle of building a motor. But let me show you what we have here. I kind of organized this whole space for the whole winter, and now we're finally coming out of winter, and so we can kind of start expanding it. But we have basically Crosstrek rebuild stuff, organization stuff I'm gonna do in a bit, and then we basically packed all the bikes together. And then, you know, we have the Groms, so at least we can get them out a little bit while it's warm. But here's the big thing right here. This VelociRax, it's been great. They do have wall mounts, but we're renting, and I don't really feel like mounting it up to the wall here. And so this whole time, it's just kind of been in no man's land. And honestly, it's been pretty annoying because it wants to tip over because it's just sitting on one point on the ground. And so I always have to like carefully lean it up somewhere and hope it doesn't fall over and kill someone. And on top of that, I can't even use it to store my bikes, which I would love to get them upright and give a little more floor space. So that's what the upgrades are today. It's actually a rolling stand that you can plug this into, and then you can roll it with bikes on it all around the shop. It looks like it's a little bit of a bulky solution, but I think it'll really help out because I think I can build the stand out and then put it on, put the bikes on it, and free up a little bit of floor space, but then take up a little bit more because of the legs. But then at least I can move it and then move stuff in around it, like during the winter months and everything. So pretty excited. So that way our rack isn't a hazard anymore in the shop, and it should help us clean up space and be able to move more efficiently. I will say, typically, we actually do put the rack on our Crosstrek here, which eventually I'm gonna have to do some hitch upgrades on that because I don't like how much it's flexing on our Crosstrek hitch. We'll have to do that at some point, but yeah, the main vehicle that we put the rack on is our Crosstrek, and that's just because we got a 5 rack. This is really easy to drive. We can fit 5 people. So honestly, I've been really happy with the VelociRax, and we were one of their first customers. And so as I looked at their website and stuff recently, they actually have been doing some pretty cool, like making some pretty cool products to really level up the game on their racks, which is kind of cool. And so yeah, I'm excited to put this together. Again, I wish we had more space. I wish I could make it look more pretty, but you know, that's what you get on this channel. So that's this main box right here is the floor stand, but this other one too is like an integrated bike lock, which will help me feel a lot better. You might have seen some other stuff, but they have a locking hitch pin, but as far as the bikes, I mean, it's just little rubber straps keeping it on. So this seems like it's a very integrated and innovative solution, so should pull both of them out. But let's first do the bike rack, or the rolling rack, and get to it from there. All right, so a couple notes right here. First of all, packaging, amazing. Granted, I didn't have to get my stuff shipped, so nothing's damaged. And shipping, I actually went to their storefront and picked up myself, but I've noticed a few things. So really simple instructions. You know, I like this. This isn't too complicated of something to build, at least for me. I do wish they put in like the torque specs of what they want me to torque these all to. Granted, I don't know if that's because they're using nylon lock washers or lock nuts. But anyways, yeah, I just, you know, I don't want to have to go look up the video. If they just put the torque spec in there, then that'd be great. But that's all fine. I mean, I'm gonna get by just fine with this. It's pretty simple construction. One of the things that I really love about VelociRax is it looks like they haven't, how to put this? They haven't spent a ton of time engineering the heck out of it to really bring the costs all the way down because, you know, reducing the steel thickness or the metal thickness on all the different places to make it as light as possible for normal use. They look like they just went in and they designed it like they think it should be. And in a lot of ways, it probably is over-engineered. I mean, this rack is never gonna have to worry about how much weight is on it, realistically. And I actually like that. I mean, for a product coming out of the US, a US company, and then it's overbuilt, so I don't have to worry about it ever breaking. Like, I'm never worried about this not lasting my lifetime. If I use it normally, it's gonna be, like, I'm never gonna exceed any of that. And so I really love all of the construction. Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive, but like, at least I know. It feels like, you know that homage or old homage, is that what it's called? You know where they say it's not built like it used to, or they're not built like they used to. But I feel like this is kind of going back to the roots, you know? Like, it's a really sturdy, albeit heavy, but really sturdy system. So here's the other thing that I noticed though when I'm putting this together. So these are box sections, you know, and they're pretty dang thick box sections. But the way that these are made is it's like a flat piece of metal, and then they bend it into this shape, and then they weld it on the seam to make a box. So yeah, so these have these seams right here, and albeit they don't look too bad, but you can definitely tell what side the seam is on. And so like on this side, see, no weld seam. This side, you got the weld seam. On this back tube, the weld seam is right here. It's a small nitpick thing, but I feel like if you were a bit more careful, thank you, Cora. If you're a bit more careful, you could have all the weld seams on the bottom of the rack, and that means all the sides that you would normally see would look nice and pretty. But instead we got one on this side. We do have one on the bottom, but on this side, the weld seam is also on the side here. So anyways, nothing that'll really hurt it functionally, but when they went to actually cut and drill it, I don't know who's doing that. If they could just make sure that the weld seams could be on the bottom, then, you know, no gripe there. But overall, so far, loving this. So let's continue putting it back together, or putting it together. All right, here's some more interesting things. If you notice, like this guy right here, it's pretty short. And then that guy's a little bit longer. And we got another longer one there. So I looked at the directions, and sure enough, yeah, we've got 85 or 80 millimeter bolts and 75 millimeter bolts. And so essentially on the wheels, they're gonna take the 80 millimeter bolts, and then to actually put all the box tube sections together, it's the 75 millimeter bolts. I don't know if it really matters that much. I guess we'll see when we get to there. But the other thing too is, of my bolts left, I only have one 80 millimeter bolt and then 3 of those, which means if I take those 2 out, then I still only have 3 80 millimeter, and I've got 1 too many 75. So that's a little interesting, but I don't know if it'll really affect putting it together. All right, there it is. There it's together. It went together pretty smoothly. The one bolt that's shorter, it worked out. And again, I wish they had the torque spec because I'd be more apt to using like a torque wrench to make sure everything's at the right spec. They probably tell you not to use an impact gun to put it together because it's hard to tell how much force you're actually putting on it. These box tubes, and the way they have it, it's actually pretty easy to squeeze, to squish, and deform the box tube. And that happened when I was putting together my rack. I accidentally deformed it a little bit. So hopefully that's pretty easy to put in. But yeah, so that guy, I did deform it a little bit. And if you do it with a impact wrench, what you want to do is just listen to the sound of it. The tone, the pitch will change. It'll be like, wah. And the second it starts going up in the pitch, that's when you want to stop, because that means it's hitting resistance and it's going to start squeezing the tube. So you just want to essentially snug it up. And yeah, other than that, it's good. I guess let me go grab my rack. That's not... So, again, it's a little bit of a bulky solution, but other than mounting them to the walls or strapping them to the roof, like, this is a pretty good mobile bike stand solution. I need to tighten up that thing. There we go. So now the next part is this, which this is kind of a neat idea. It's a bike lock that stays with it and should be decently secure. I mean, obviously not insanely secure, but this is a bike cable lock. And the way that it works is that it actually can stay hidden up inside of here. Maybe right there, yeah. And then each side has a cable lock, and so you can stow it away and keep it with it and keep it nice and tidy. I think that's a pretty ingenious solution. For designing this and then thinking about a bike lock, like, this is pretty good. So let me make sure that I do it correctly. Alright, well there we go. The whole rack is put together, can roll around, has the lock on it. Let's, now that I put this together, and it's probably going to be a pain to get outside, let's bring this outside into better light, and I can show you what it's like. Here's the rack out in the daylight. You can really get a good shot all around it here. And I will say the lock here, because I squeezed my tubes, you can actually see right there where I squeezed the box tube a little too much. It makes it kind of hard to actually pop this up. So yeah, typically I will have like a screwdriver or something in the truck, so it's not too much or too big of a deal. But yeah, you can just get that open, and then right here, really nice, and it comes out. I will say one thing that I wish I could change was down in there, the whole cable assembly can actually move quite a bit back and forth, which is probably just going to come out as like rattling. But yeah, and then this side, same thing. Just pry that up, cable comes out. They did provide this little combination lock. There you go. I feel like I've seen too much lockpicking lore to really trust this at all, but again, that just came with the lock assembly, and it works out pretty well. I mean, at least it's something. And then once you have all the cables out, you can, oh geez, you can push these back down and have it look nice and tidy. And that should actually keep it from rattling around while you're going. But when they're stored away, that whole inside piece can rattle around. So yeah, but overall, this is looking pretty dang good. I'm liking this quite a bit. I will say when you lock the casters, it keeps them from rotating and moving. So that's just something to note. And it is pretty simple to go like that and unlock it, and then like that. And they seem like really high quality casters on there. And like overall sturdiness, I mean, there is like no flex really in the whole system. So again, it's a little bulky, but this should store the bikes a lot more efficiently than before. Honestly, I like this so far. I like it quite a bit. Alright guys, that'll end out this project. I think it really turned out well. Really excited to start using this and have a lot of the shop space kind of cleared up and better managed. I mean, it wasn't too bad, but at least now bikes aren't falling over and I can lock them up even in my own garage. And that'll be really nice. I really have been impressed with VelociRax. If you're in the market for a bike rack, I mean, mostly like 95% good things. It's a little heavy and a little bulky in some ways, but I think those small details far outweigh the robustness and the ingenuity in it and just all of it. I mean, I know I can trust this bike rack, and I know I can trust this rolling stand, and the lock is just, it's super convenient. So really happy with it. Not trying to gush too much. If you like this video, I hope you guys hit the subscribe button so we can see you on the next project. If you have any comments, leave them down below. Hope to see you guys on the next project. Until then, I hope you guys have a great day and have fun. We'll see ya. Bye.